What up, everybody? We're going to be talking about the blog, but just specifically the Masters of Evil portion of it. They have unleashed the other 3 kits, so it's going to be 4 new characters and 1 existing in Ultron. I can't believe Zemo didn't get the nod for this team. But we're going to be talking about their kits, breaking it down. I'm going to do exact comparison to the Cosmic Crucible team. We're going to be talking about the exact teams that these guys directly call out because it is so obvious and so yucky. But we're going to talk about that so you can kind of plan if you want to invest heavily in this team, if you want to whale out on this team. I'll try and help you navigate those decisions. And then I'll ask you how hyped you are for this team because it is kind of cool. Kang is a dope character. Super weird that he's on this Masters of Evil's team, though. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and let's get into this team breakdown. Alright guys, so before we jump into the new Masters of Evils, I want to take a quick look back at Titania. I don't know how to say your name. I apologize for that. I know I'll get ripped apart in the comment section below. Let me know phonetically how it's supposed to be said. But I want to take a quick look at her so we could, add her to the new characters and see what's going on. So her primary attack is just damage, clear negative effect, and in Crucible, get an ability energy, and clear an additional 2 negative effects. That's kind of cool. Striker looking pretty good there, but Striker's looking pretty good in a lot of these characters, so we'll see how that goes. She also looks pretty good as a Raider, as we're going to see in a little bit. Her special is attacking the primary target, clearing all negative effects on crit. Raider shout out, right? Copy and clear all positive effects on the primary target, excluding taunt. In Crucible, if the primary target has safeguard, she's going to snatch that. I mean, they still get to keep it, but it's fine because she also gets it. And then she's going to gain speed of offense up, and it's unavoidable. She, to me, looks like the Spider Weaver / Tangled Web counter, but we're going to see Kang kind of does that too. The ultimate, she's attacking the primary target, applying ability block, disrupt, heal block. In Crucible, she will do that for 2 turns instead of just 1, it looks like. On crit, the ability gains 100% extra focus. Again, they kind of shout out to Raider, so that feels kind of better, right? So we don't feel like we have to make her a striker because of her ability energy she's gaining. It's unavoidable, it cannot be blocked. Love that. If we can get her to go before 2099, before Spider Weaver, she can get that ability block on Spider Weaver, and then we don't have to worry about the charges. I think that's exactly how this is going to play out. On spawn, she's going to gain defense up, and she's also going to give that to all Masters of Evil allies. I like that. That's going to be good for certain matchups. Obviously not great against the Tangled Web team, because 29 just rips that off and gives defense down, unless we have a different way to protect ourselves from that. See Absorbing Man in a couple minutes. She'll gain deflect and counters on turn and on crit. Whenever this character gains 1 or more positive effects, she's going to gain 10% speed bar. And you're going to see she's going to be getting lots of positive effects in Crucible on spawn. She gains counter and deflect and 10% speed bar right off the bat. And on Masters of Evil ally turn, she's also gaining 1 counter. So every time they take a turn, she's going to be getting 10% speed bar, healing herself up. She's going to be pretty interesting. And when she or Absorbing Man is attacked, she's going to apply slow to the character. I hope they change this Masters of Evil Protector to Absorbing Man at this point. She gains crit chance and crit damage per counter, per deflect, respectively. She gives health. She gains even more health in Crucible. And she's going to give 50% max health to her entire team in Crucible. I wish they split this up like they have in the past. I wish it was 25% health for her and her team outside of Crucible, and an additional 25% in. That feels better, but it is what it is. So that's Titania. Keep that in mind. She seems like the Tangled Web counter component of this team. The rest look different for sure, but it's going to be Kang that's going to open up all the counters. All right, so I'm kind of going to do this in the opposite order they did in the blog, because, I mean, hype-wise, that it feels like they should have done it the opposite way than they did in the blog. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to start with Moonstone, Villain Global Biocontroller. Her basic, pretty standard, primary target attack plus defense down. If vulnerable, she gains an ability energy. Same on her ISO attack, so you kind of think Striker for her too, right? But that's going to be true for all these characters. Anyway, the special, you can use this on the opener. Reduce the speed bar of the enemy with the highest damage, excluding the primary target. So that is to say, if you are attacking the highest damage enemy, with this ability, I guess it defaults to the second highest damage, and it's going to call in a mind control, reduce the speed bar of the primary target You're also going to do an attack. You're also going to apply defense down and stun, and in Crucible, as well as disrupt and trauma. Where was this for Tales of Legend in for Red Hulk, right? The defense down, the stun, the disrupt, the trauma. We needed this for Red Hulk last season, you goobers. All right, so that ability looks really powerful, looks really fun. Then we got the ultimate. Again, you could use this turn 1 if you're on defense. This will be used turn 1, but luckily this looks like an offense, a primarily offensive team. So you're going to attack the primary and adjacent targets, applying defense down, +2, up to a maximum of 3. In Crucible, you're going to stun the primary, so she's got 2 stuns in her kit. Love to see that. She's also going to reduce speed bar for primary and adjacent targets by 20% Crucible. So much so much speed stuff going on with this kit. It's going to be pretty nutty. I think it'll be used on defense by some for a little bit. It's going to be very powerful, but I think the mirror matchup will straight up walk over it because of the offensive tags. So her passive, very interesting passive as well. So on turn, if she has at least 1 ally, she's going to gain evade. But then for every additional Masters of Evil ally, she's also going to gain something else. So there's heal by 10%, barrier for 10% of her max life, clear 1 positive effect from the enemy with least resistance, transfer 1 negative effect, excluding ability block and stun from herself to the enemy with the least resistance. Sorry, that's cut off. So when she's on her full team, she's going to do all 5 of these things. She's going to gain the evade, gain the health, gain the barrier, clear 1 positive effect, and transfer 1 negative effect. In Crucible, she's going to give 50% focus to herself and the team, and on offense, that's going to be doubled up to 100%. So that's Moonstone. Pretty cool character, lots of speed stuff, mind control. I love seeing that. So she's like kind of like the new Loki, and we're going to see how often we can get her to be taking turns, because I believe she's the only character that doesn't gain speed bar herself, if I'm not mistaken. Titania does. Ultron does when his bots use their special. He gains speed bar. Yeah, it looks like she's the only one that's not gaining speed bar, but she will be gaining speed from Kang, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. Let's go all the way back to the top, and let's talk about the Absorbing Man. I'm pretty actually pumped for the Absorbing Man, because he looks like he could be a decent plug-and-play character. Let's just show his name there for a second. So he's Villain Global Mystic, and this is why they needed that shout-out in the global rules, that Masters of Evil Villain Mystics are exempt from the global rules, which, I mean, fine. You don't want your new character to be bad right off the rip. Or not to be bad, but to be at least be nerfed. So on his primary attack, he's going to copy and clear 2 positive effects, excluding stealth and taunt. I kind of wish he would steal taunt. I feel like that'd be good for him anyway. And if the primary target is vulnerable, he's going to gain 2 deflects. You're going to see deflects play a pretty big part in his kit, at least in Crucible. And he's going to do that on his Striker ISO attack as well if we decide to go that route. So you can use both of his abilities in your opening turn, but the special to me seems like what we will be doing, because it seems like the smarter move over AI. So he's going to copy and clear all negative effects from his entire Masters of Evil team, taking them onto himself, and then flipping them. So if there's crazy amount of bleeds, defense down, slow, all that kind of stuff, if there's no trauma, he's sucking it all to himself, and then he's just flipping it. I wonder if he'll steal trauma onto himself. That would be very unfortunate. That would be very unfortunate and a good way to counter the team. Apply offense down for 2 turns to primary target. Attack primary and adjacent targets for 400% damage. He's going to clear taunt from all allies, then he gains taunt in Crucible, gaining taunt for 2 turns. And that's why this will probably be what we default to if we're using the team. Debuff clear, offense down, 2-turn taunt. Seems pretty OP. Ultimate, he's going to clear all negative effects from himself. In Crucible, he'll do a giant heal on himself. He attacks the primary target, clears a bunch of positive effects. And in Crucible, apply deflect and immunity to self and all Master of Evil allies. I love that immunity. If this character were to somehow go before Spider Weaver, which I don't think is possible, he would give immunity so no one could be stunned. But the deflect and immunity will also play a big factor into, let's say, the unlimited matchup. You know, not being able to get ability blocked or defense downed, or all that kind of stuff that the unlimited team does. So he, to me, kind of screams like, oh, I'm going to help in the limited counter. So Titania, to me, Titania, whatever her name is, she screams, here, I'm here for Tangled Web. Absorbing Man screams, here, I'm here for the unlimited team to help out there. Especially this on-spawn taunt, which I guess doesn't really affect. Sorry, guys, I just had to interrupt, because after looking at Kang's kit, I now see that, yeah, they're going to hard counter unlimited as well. The on-spawn apply speed up for 2 turns is going to make Absorbing Man go before Rogue but not before Gambit, but that shouldn't be an issue. He shouldn't get the ability block because you probably be able to control the Gambit somehow. Regardless, because of the speed up, I strongly believe that this team is going to dumpster Unlimited, which is kind of crazy. But you'll see more of that when we get to Kang's kit. But yeah, I had to put this in because I was editing this and I was ripping my hair out. Like, stop saying that maybe they'll win. No, they're gonna win. Unlimited. So he does spawn on taunt and he gains deflex. I guess he would at least take the hits from like Gambit and stuff like that before he drops his taunt. So that'd be good. And when he's on Crucible offense, he's gonna apply 4 counter to a random Titania ally. We saw in her kit, I believe that gives her a bunch of either crit damage or crit chance. Either way, it's going to make her hit like a truck right off the bat. So it also, and I think this is all under the offensive banner, which is great. So Absorbing Man kind of not going to be good on defense, but it looks like he'll be really good on offense. Just that the spawn taunt being usable elsewhere too gives him plug and play value. I should mention that. So when this character is attacked, copy and clear a positive effect, excluding stealth and taunt, from the attacker to self, and gain +1 defense up to a maximum of 3. Keep that in mind, because that's going to play a factor in a little bit here. In Crucible, on block, heal for 5% of his max life. Like we talked about, he starts with deflex. He's gaining deflex in his ultimate and from his basic attack. So he's going to be doing lots of healing from that. That's great. When this character drops below 50% health, he's going to... or he also has to be taunting at the time, I suppose. He'll fill his speed bar by 30% and clear his taunt, allowing him to then, I don't know, do his ultimate so that he heals back up and gives deflect and immunity to his entire team, protecting them further that way. That'd be great. He will gain armor and resistance per defense up. So when I said, remember that he can get up to 3 defense up from when he's attacked, that'll be 60% armor and resistance. It's a new character. I expect him to be tanky. He's going to spawn with defense up from Titania. He's going to have deflex. He's going to get up to 60% armor and resistance. That's crazy good. That's crazy good. I think he starts with 2 defense up as well from Titania, so that's dope. In Crucible, he's going to give resistance to himself and his entire team in the form of 50%. I don't like those big resistance increases. 50% is manageable. That's kind of what like Infinity Watch was at, so at least it's not the 100% Darkhold had. But it does kind of say, like, don't try and use your older teams against me, because if your older teams didn't come with 50% focus, then you're going to have a problem. But we'll see how that goes. I don't think they'll be a defensive team. And here comes the MVP of the team, Kang the Conqueror. Of course, he should at the very least be the MVP. I was hoping he would be a straight-up plug-and-play character on the same level as, like, a Silver Surfer was when he was new. Kang shouldn't be pigeonholed into one team. You know, he's like the big bad of the Marvel Strike Force right now, or sorry, the Marvel Universe right now, and just his level of epicness in the comics is far greater than just the star on a Masters of Evil team. But I digress. He at least looks really good. So he is a villain cosmic tech, and at this point I'd like to point out we now have 2 tech characters on this team, 2 bio characters, and 1 mystic, so it is a pretty well-balanced team as far as origins go. I think the community prefers that. So here's his basic. He's going to attack the primary target for 360 piercing. That's a lot of piercing damage. If the target is vulnerable, he will fill his speed bar by 20%. This attack ignores defense up and cannot be counterattacked. That's really powerful. And that all carries over into his ISO attack. So right off the gate, you think Striker. But he has really good Raider potential as well. So I am not sure what to recommend for ISOs on this team. A lot of them seem to make good Raiders. A lot of them seem to make good Strikers. Ultron seems to be like, I don't want him to be a Striker. I don't want him eating it up, but he won't really help getting enough vulnerables out either. So we're going to see. Hopefully Ultron gets a little bit more tweaking. I know Tana was saying that that's possible, so hopefully that'll be the case. But then if we go to his special, so he can use this on his first turn on Crucible offense. He's going to clear all barrier from the primary and adjacent targets. He'll attack them for 420% piercing damage. He will gain 1 evade per crit. So he could get 3 evades right there. That's crazy. That's really good. He'll then apply slow for 2 turns to the primary adjacent targets. And he will give offense up for 2 turns to himself and Masters of Evil allies. His attack ignores defense up. I think everything he does ignores defense up, which is dope. And keep in mind that offense up when we get a little bit lower. So when we now have offense up from the Ultron bots and from Kang, and I think that's it. but that's going to play into his passive in a little bit here. So his ultimate is 5 out of 6, which I think means he can use it turn 1. But if there's ever a room where it removes 1 extra energy, then I think it then becomes a turn 2 ability. We'll see how that plays. I always find it interesting when they do it like this. But on Crucible offense, clear all barrier and all death proof on all enemies. That's pretty legit. We're going to see how that plays. Death proof barrier. I'm trying to think of like the teams that get that off rip. I want to say Dazzler gives a little bit of barrier, so that'd be helpful there. Death proof. I'm sure they get death proof from something as well, the Unlimited team. But I think Tangled Web doesn't. Yeah, I'm not so sure where that's going to come into effect, but I'm sure it will. Attack all enemies for, again, 300% piercing and clear 3 positive effects. It ignores defense up, and characters killed from this attack cannot be revived. So this is very interesting, and this also, to me, shouts out like, hey, Unlimited in Stage 4, when they can all res, this is going to be the ability where you do all your first turns, you get a bunch of them low, this will clear death proofs, clear barrier, and anybody that dies from this, it does hit every single person. It also clears positive effects. It also ignores defense up. Anybody that dies from this will be permanently dead. This does scream, hey, Unlimited Stage 4, look at me. So keep that in mind. We'll see how that goes. In Crucible, it will reduce the speed bar by 10% for all enemies. Apply 2 speed up to himself and all Master of Evil allies. The attack is unavoidable, which is great. So it's not like you can dodge the buff clears and all the damage, the permanent death, and cannot be blocked. This is where the speed bar stuff starts really coming into effect. So his special didn't do anything with speed bar. His basic kind of did. His ultimate does by 10%. But then we get to his passive, and this is crazy. And this is where I kind of got a little tilted reading the kit. Let me know in the comments if you did as well at this point. So on turn, he will attack all enemies for 30% piercing. This attack ignores defense up. Attacking all enemies is big. 30% is actually kind of a small number, so that's good. We'll see what his damage stat is like. Raider, again, might be able to crit here, and then Striker will just increase that damage outright. So it's kind of a wash there. In Crucible, clear speed up on all enemies. On his turn, he's going to clear speed up on all enemies. So when Gambit goes and gives them speed up, he's going to clear it. When Wakandans have their speed up, he's going to clear it. Wakandas are going to always get speed up at the end of every single one of their turns. And whenever he takes a turn, he's then going to erase that. I can envision it playing out. Like, as soon as they get speed up, he's clearing it. We're going to see a little bit later on in his passive that it gets even more abundantly clear that they basically made the Wakandan room so that you have to buy Masters of Evil if you want to get through it efficiently. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So he gains 20% crit chance for himself and all Masters of Evil allies, and he's going to gain 40% crit damage as well. That actually number is going to get inflated here in a little bit. The offense up, when I told you to remember that. Master of Evil allies also gain 10% crit damage. So here's where it gets inflated. In Crucible, gain 20% crit chance and 10% crit damage for self or any Masters of Evil ally with offense up. So that is going to be, what is that? That's 100% crit chance plus 50% crit damage on top of 20% crit chance, and then it'll be, so he's going to crit super hard. 90% crit damage. I could really see Raider pulling super far ahead of this. When you look up here, you're going to open up with his special on an Unlimited team, getting 2 offense up to your entire team. Then Kang's turn comes back around, and all of a sudden, he's critting for 90% crit damage plus what Raider gives. It's 100% crit chance, and it's a permanent kill ability. So I can absolutely see him wrecking the Unlimited team. And this is where more shoutouts to that Stage 6 come into play and tilt me a little bit. So on spawn, apply speed up for 2 turns to self and all Masters of Evil allies. That's fine. That's what A-Force had to do to counter Young Avengers, okay? It's another team that spawns a speed up. That's great. But here's the part that pissed me off. When any enemy gains speed up, fill speed bar for this character by 10%. My guys, could you not have said it any clearer? This is your Wakanda room. This is going to be the character that counters them because they all spawn with speed up. Could you have been more obvious? It's gross. It's pretty gross. Here's the problem we just told you we're giving you yesterday. Here's the solution you're going to be able to buy in a month's time. But we're going to make you suffer for a month. My goal before this entire team is released is to find an efficient counter to that Wakanda team so that people do not have to buy Masters of Evil. That is my goal. I don't know if it's going to be possible. That room is stupidly packed with buffs for the Wakanda team that Kang immediately eats up. So I don't know, but that's my goal. My goal is to help the free-to-play circumvent this nonsense, because that is nonsense. He's going to gain an additional 20% crit chance for himself, Master of Evil, and an additional 10% crit damage. Okay, never mind. So instead of having 90% crit damage on Crucible offense, it'll be 100% crit damage. So he's going to smack. He's going to be able to kill Unlimited if you have the team big enough. I don't know who's going to, besides like the Mega Krakens and the Whales, I'm not sure who's going to have this team that big. But it does seem like this team will beat everything that we currently have on defense, whether it be Titania to beat Tangled Web, whether it be Absorbing Man and Kang to take out the Unlimited team, or whether it be just Kang to just doo-doo all over Wakanda's in Stage 6 that they're now forcing us to place there. I don't know. Guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Let me know if you're pumped for this team, if you're hyped, if you're a little bit dismayed like me that they've so clearly spelt out what we're doing on Stage 6. Let me know all that in the comment section below. And as always, stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.